Graduates, family members, friends, staff, students, and faculty, welcome to the 2020 Colorado Linguistics Graduate Recognition Ceremony, otherwise known as Crisis Commencement. My name is Laura Michaelis. I am the chair of CU Linguistics. The scene you see behind me is our beloved home, the Helms Building, which celebrated its centennial last year, or at least the middle part of it did. It now sits empty awaiting our return, maintained by our attentive janitorial and groundskeeping staff. We will return, and our alums, our forever buffs, will always be welcome to return. It's still the most beautiful campus in America, at least in my opinion, and you never really got the chance to say goodbye. In the meantime, we will bear in mind the words of our fifth and longest serving president, George Norland, who was acting president during the last great pandemic in 1918. The university is not the campus, not the buildings on the campus, not the faculties, not the students of any one time, not one of these or all of them. The university consists of all who come into and go forth from her halls, who are touched by her influence, and who carry on her spirit. On behalf of the faculty and staff of CU Linguistics, I congratulate you, our 2020 graduates. In this virtual ceremony, we recognize the achievements of CU Linguistics students and give you the opportunity to honor the family members, friends, teachers, pets, and community members who have sustained you throughout your studies at CU. On this site, you will find profiles of our 2020 graduates, as well as video content from faculty in which faculty discussed student research products and accomplishments. You will also hear congratulatory messages from our undergraduate chair, Professor Kira Hall, and our graduate chair, Professor Rebecca Scarborough. Whether you earned a BA, MA, MS, or PhD degree from CU Linguistics, you found your calling in this field, which finds our common humanity in our common daily practice, talking, with hands, keyboards, or voices. You also heeded a call. You became part of a digital diaspora, and in so doing, you helped flatten the curve and protect the most vulnerable among us. Despite the distraction, isolation, inconvenience, and worry, you persevered in your studies. You went to class, you met with your professors, you met with your fellow students, and you probably felt spent at the end of each day by the illusory togetherness of Zoom. You achieved things through adversity. In this season of loss, the loss of an in-person graduation ceremony might seem the least of it, but a graduation is important. It is our link with all the graduates who came before us, particularly those whose educations were disrupted by world events the way yours has been. Buffs graduated shortly after the 1918 pandemic, when 119 Boulderites died, during the Depression, during World War II, during the Vietnam War, and so on. They were tested the way you have been, and you stayed the course somehow the way they did. Family and friends, you have sustained our graduates, supported them even from afar, and allowed them to reach this day. Even more impressively, you have done so without understanding fully what linguists do or what linguistics is good for. That's very generous of you, but you still deserve an answer to one basic question. What is linguistics anyway? Our graduates have become very adept at answering this question, but I'll try to answer it today nonetheless. Our students are in this field because they want to explore language as a fundamental component of human perception and cognition, our meaning-making capacity, and our social identity. Our students are in general really good at what they do, so please hug your graduates, if only virtually. Their talents and interests span many aspects of this field. I want to mention in particular that the vast majority of our BA graduates have an interdisciplinary focus. 96% of them are graduating today either with a double major or with a minor. Their other major departments include speech, language, and hearing science, computer science, German, psychology, anthropology, economics, Spanish, Japanese, philosophy, and classics. And if you wonder why I put SLHS and computer science first, it's because they are also having virtual graduations. So shout out to them. Our faculty and students live this interdisciplinary commitment in their scholarly lives. because the study of language bridges several scientific disciplines, natural and social. The study of language is inseparable from the study of human origins and sociality, learning, including machine learning, general cognition, and even human genetics, as linguists study the link between human dispersal and language evolution. Linguistics also has undeniable roots in the humanities because there are strong connections between language and culture. We study the ordinary linguistic faculties that those of extraordinary attainment leverage and exploit in artistic works. If you want further evidence of how many different research streams our undergraduate students combine, you need look no further than the Lura blog posts. The students authoring these blogs were each awarded a Linguistics Undergraduate Research Award for innovative work in a linguistics course at CU Boulder. Here's just a selection of the titles. You'll hear a lot more about these from Professor Hall in her message. Max Dwight wrote on the semantic pejoration of the Arabic phrase Allahu Akbar. Zachary Ryan wrote on English to IPA translation using a neural network. Our majors are not merely academic achievers, but also lend their talents to many projects. I want to recognize two such students. BA MA graduate Megan Pilkey has received a Jacob Van Eck Scholars Award for 2020. This is an award given by the College of Arts and Sciences to students who have not only superior academic achievement, but also distinguished service to the University of Colorado Boulder and the community at large. You'll hear more about that shortly from Professor Raymond. Congratulations, Megan. BA student Maisa Namari is the 2020 winner of the David S. Rood Undergraduate Scholarship. And I'm going to hold up her award here and hope you can see it. So congratulations, Maisa. You're going to get this award, which is signed by me and Kira and framed. At some point, I will happily deliver it to you. We have awarded this scholarship since 2017. It recognizes outstanding achievement as well as potential for further success in linguistics. The scholarship is named in honor of Professor David Rood, who retired in 2016 after 48 years of teaching at CU. He was known for his devotion to undergraduate students and undergraduate causes. Maisa is not only a standout student and a joy to have in class, but she also has contributed in many ways to our departmental community. She was a member of our departmental action team, which created our new program of major tracks. And a shout out to other student team members, Lauren Hoos, graduating today, Lauren Nelson, Ling Club President-elect, Maureen Cossey, PhD student, and Jared Desjardins, PhD student. She was co-organizer of the wonderful David J. Peterson talk on constructed languages. And that is probably the last major event we had before we all dispersed in March. I'm going to show you a picture from an article in the Arts and Sciences magazine that was actually about this event. And there we see Nadine Salvador, who's graduating today, Lauren Nelson, who is the president-elect of the Linguistics Club, Maisa, right there, Maisa Namari, a third from the left, and Delaney Deskin, outgoing president in two senses. Maisa was a passionate student organizer, a very engaged student organizer of the Society for Linguistic Anthropology conference that has now been postponed, but we hope will return to Boulder sometime very soon. Maisa even used her considerable graphic design talents to create the conference logo. Congratulations, Maisa. So, what do linguists do? Some linguists study the role of language in social practice. Some linguists study the evolution of language and ask what design features of language reflect communicative functions of language. Some linguists examine how children enter the world of culture through mastery of the artifacts and conventions of language. Linguists study the influence of language categories on our everyday thinking and behavior. Linguists ask whether speakers of different languages have different ways of thinking. Linguists also study the acoustics of sound waves and how people perceive sounds. We use this knowledge about how people process speech to build better computer programs for automatic speech recognition. In addition, we use semantic analysis to build programs that perform web searches, automate translation, extract information, and answer queries. We create grammars of undocumented languages and develop language revitalization programs, for example, in Native American communities. And if I can say a quick word about the devastating effect of COVID-19 on Navajo communities, I will say that if you are weighing causes to give to during this crisis, that is a very good one to consider right now. My Navajo syntax collaborator, Jalan Begay, would be embarrassed, I think, that I mentioned this, but I know he would also be very grateful. So graduates, what kind of work will you do? The world is an even more troubled place now than it was when you started your CU education, but I believe the world needs your contributions more than ever. The Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres, recently said, "Our common enemy is COVID-19, but our enemy is also an infodemic of misinformation. To overcome the coronavirus, we need to urgently promote facts and science, hope and solidarity over despair and division." Who better to fight the infodemic than linguists? We know that new facts have a way of being either absorbed or disregarded when people see a given problem through conflicting conceptual lenses. We also know the power of metaphor. And of course, CU leadership is very fond of buffalo imagery, so I'm going to indulge in some of that here. Remember, you have a vast expanse to wander, but you are part of our herd. Together, we are buff strong. In the words of the Norland Charge, wherever you are at work, there is the university at work. Please stay well, stay aware, and stay tuned for more video content following this message.
Hello, linguistics graduates, and those of you watching here to celebrate those graduates. I'm so pleased to have the opportunity to offer my congratulations to all of you, and as the graduate advisor to offer an especially hearty congratulations to our MA, BA, MA, BAM, MS Classic, and PhD grads. It's been my privilege to teach you, advise you, to work alongside you, and to benefit from the energy and bright insight that all of you have brought to the department. We're especially proud and pleased that the graduate school has also recognized several of our students for their excellence this year, and I'd like to mention just a few of these honors. Marcus Avalar, now Dr. Avalar, was awarded a Graduate School Dissertation Completion Fellowship. Jared Desjardins received a Graduate School Summer Dissertation Fellowship, and Evan Coles-Harris was recognized with a Graduate School GPTI Teaching Excellence Award. Congratulations. The department would also like to recognize the above and beyond hard work and excellence of every one of our graduate student teachers working as TAs and instructors this semester. Their dedication and innovation in the face of the sudden shift to remote learning was nothing short of brilliant, and all of us here in the department, from the undergrads and their courses to the faculty, are grateful for everything that we've learned from you. As you finish your work here, I hope that you move confidently into the world, knowing that language is the key to connection, whether we're all together or separated by social distancing, and your expertise is valuable and indeed essential, and we have every confidence that you will do interesting and important things. Congratulations, linguists, and best wishes.
Hello, my name is Kira Hall. I'm Chair of Undergraduate Studies, and I just want to say how proud I am of this graduating class. This is a stellar group of seniors who are celebrating today. I think our only regret here as faculty is that we can't be with you and with your families to celebrate this momentous occasion, and of course all your achievements and accomplishments. We're so proud of you. In lieu of that, I just wanted to say a few words. There is so much gratitude I could say to this group. They're such a stellar group. But let me just mention a few names. The Ling Club officers who have done so much work this year, preparing events and hosting socials. Delaney Deskin is our outbound president. Lauren Nelson is the president-elect. Nadine Salvador is graduating, and Maisa Namari. All four of them were officers and were remarkable. And then we have another set of officers, the ULA officers, which is the Undergraduate Linguistics Association. That's Carolyn Olmstead, Cameron Sojak, and Jewel Ornelas. And finally, we have a really group of innovative students who worked on the DAT. It's a departmental action committee that we worked together to design new tracks for the undergraduate program in linguistics. And we had a lot of super undergraduates working with that. Lauren Nelson, Lauren Hoos, and again, Maisa Namari. just super work. Finally, I just wanted to mention that of our graduating seniors, we have some who also won the LURA Awards this year. LURA stands for Linguistics Undergraduate Research Award. And these are students who have been nominated by professors for outstanding work they did in their classes. And they produce a blog about that research program. We're going to release that blog in the next couple of weeks. But I'm proud to announce some of the winners here who are graduating. That would be Sabrina Cohen with her blog, You Are What You Speak. Carolyn Olmsted, you'll hear about her in another video, How to Do Things with Memes. Jewel Ornelas, Ice Bay Through the Lens of Twitter Politics. Maya Stevens, Of Presidents and Obama Face, Politics and Memers. And finally, Caitlin Schwartz, who did What the Duck, Correcting Text Messages. These are really, really super smart, clever, interesting blogs, and I encourage you all to read them when they're released. So just in closing, I want to just leave you with the esteemed opinion of the faculty on this particular group of graduating seniors, and it goes something like this. See you Boulder seniors in linguistics, rock. So proud of y'all. We know you're going to go on to do great things. Congratulations.
I'm Professor Chase Raymond, and I have the honor of presenting one of our BA/MA graduates this year, Megan Pelkey. In addition to her undergraduate honors thesis examining one-on-one English language tutoring sessions, which she defended last year, Megan was selected this year as a recipient of the Jacob Van Eck Scholarship. This is one of the College of Arts and Sciences' highest honors and recognizes exceptional undergraduates who excel in their academics and meaningfully contribute to the University of Colorado Boulder and the community. Megan's work with the department's literacy program and the Student Worker Alliance program SWAP, in addition to her strong academic achievements, made her an ideal candidate for the Van Eck Award, and we were so pleased to see her selected. We're lucky that Megan will be sticking around to CU this upcoming year as a graduate student in the Department of Speech, Language, and Hearing Sciences. Congratulations, Megan.
Hello, I'm Kira Hall, and this year I had the pleasure of advising Carolyn Olmsted in her senior honors thesis. Every once in a while, an undergraduate student comes along who shows you a world that you never knew existed. And this was the case with Carolyn Olmsted. Her thesis, if I may, is titled How to Do Things with Memes, Creating Community Through the Socio-Pragmatics of Star Wars Prequel Memes. It's a brilliant thesis. Carolyn applies all the tools of sociolinguistics to really understand what these memes are doing linguistically, as well as how they create identity. It's a fun, funny thesis. And Carolyn, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.
I'm Laura Michaelis, and I was Kieran Britt's Linguistics Honors Thesis Advisor. I specify Linguistics Honors Thesis because he wrote 2 different honors theses in 2 different departments, the first student, to my knowledge, to have done this. His philosophy honors thesis was in epistemology. It was entitled Against Equal Treatment, and Professor Matthias Stoip was his advisor. His linguistics thesis was entitled Linguistic Factors Underlying Quantifier Scope Disambiguation. He received a summa cum laude degree designation for each of these theses. He also graduates with distinction. Kieran received the David S. Rood Scholarship last spring, as well as the Lamont Scholarship awarded by the Philosophy Department. For his linguistics honors thesis, Kieran took on an enduring question in natural language semantics. What readings are possible in sentences with multiple quantifiers? Quantifiers are words like every, each, and a. Semanticists developed theories to capture the range of possible readings for such sentences. For example, the sentence, every doctor talked to a patient, has 2 readings, one in which there are multiple patients and one in which there's just a single patient. The job of a semanticist is to argue that this sentence is truly ambiguous, that is, it has 2 possible readings, depending on which quantifier we think of first, and to capture the ambiguity by providing adequate representations for those readings. Semantic theories, however, cannot tell us which of the 2 readings of an ambiguous sentence we are likely to get in context, and this is the question that Kieran took on in his honors thesis. Kieran's account unites the semantic study of scope with the pragmatic study of context of use. Kieran is intellectually fearless. He targets hard problems, he reads widely and well, he raises the right questions, and he's always prepared with counterexamples. It was a pleasure to work with him. Kieran will enter the Philosophy Department's Bachelor's Accelerated Master's program in the fall. He hopes eventually to enter a philosophy PhD program and to become an academic philosopher. Congratulations, Kieran.
Fallon E. Hovland has completed her Master of Arts degree in Linguistics this spring with the filing of her thesis, Plautdietsch in Contact, How Contact with English and Spanish has Influenced Plautdietsch Speakers in Seminole, Texas. Fallon is an enterprising researcher who didn't shy away from challenges she faced in the course of her research on the Low German language spoken in the Mennonite community of Seminole, Texas. Her research required ingenuity and some serious gutsiness, beginning with the trilingual fieldwork she undertook in a notoriously insular community. Fallon made the most of the data she collected in this community, tracing the histories of loanwords and identifying sound change in progress in Plautdietsch. Her thesis demonstrates quite clearly that contact-induced language change is not merely the consequence of outside forces acting on a language, but also a function of the socio-cultural changes within communities and evolving language ideologies. It's been a pleasure to be involved in the incredible work that Fallon has done this semester, and I look forward to seeing what she does with her interest in linguistics and in Germanic languages in the future. Congratulations, Fallon.
I am very happy to join you today, along with the birds in my backyard, to celebrate the PhD and dissertation of my student, Marcus Avilar. Marcus's work is in the area of linguistic anthropology, which is a field that looks at language on the ground as used by people in everyday social life. And the particular combination of language and social life that he's interested in takes place in São Paulo, Brazil, in a religion called Umbanda. So if I may, Marcus's dissertation is entitled Urban Spirits, Language, Race, and Modernity Among Ubandistas in São Paulo, Brazil. Umbanda is a Brazilian spiritualist religion, and it's widely discussed in anthropology for its syncretism of African, indigenous, and European religions. Marcus is interested in the way practitioners of this religion, speakers of Portuguese, appeal to nationalist ideals of racial democracy to position their religion as modern. Thus makes a great contribution to research in the area of language and race and language and modernity. It's a fantastic dissertation. In fact, one of his committee members at the defense called it a page-turner, which is something that you don't often hear. Now Marcus has gone off to bigger and better things. He is in a prestigious postdoc at Florida International University, where he is studying uses of Spanish and Portuguese in Miami, in the Miami area. So with that, I want to carry out one of academia's most hallowed performatives, otherwise known as the doctoral hooding ceremony. So, I have here a hood. Marcus, here we go. Sorry I can't be there in person, but you are hereby hooded. I'm so proud of you. You're magnificent, and you're going to go on to do such magnificent things.
I'm Laura Michaelis, and I was Tao Lin's doctoral dissertation advisor along with Professor Martha Palmer. Tao's thesis, which he successfully defended last fall, is entitled Automatic Classification of Verb Direction Constructions in Mandarin Chinese. It focuses on Mandarin verb direction constructions, or VDCs, a class of serial verb constructions that express complex events, both literal and metaphorical. An example is, and I'll read you the translation and not the original Mandarin Chinese, the French team kicked, entered, decide game. What this means is that the French team kicked their way into the final. This sentence asserts that kicking is the means by which the French team entered the final. A machine translation system would be required to compute the relationship between the two events, construe the first as the cause of the second, and choose an appropriate English construction as the translation, in this case the way construction, as in kick one's way. Tao's goal was to create a machine learning system that can achieve a human-level understanding of sentences like this and potentially improve the performance of NLP applications like Chinese machine translation, natural language reasoning, and event detection. This research made two primary contributions. First, it established linguistic analyses of VDCs based on event structure and metaphor. It included taxonomies of event types. Second, based on the linguistically motivated categories, it developed an automated method of semantic classification for the constructions, surpassing the scope of classification resources previously devised within Chinese NLP. After defending his thesis, Tao accepted a position as a computational linguist at Milestone Technologies, a worldwide managed services provider with over 2,000 employees. In this position, Tao was using conversational agents like Amelia and Google Assistant to create natural dialogues for different clients and contribute to research design, data cleaning, coding, and evaluation of NLP-related components of wider AI projects. Tao was working out of the Phoenix, Arizona offices. I'll miss my many discussions with Tao. I'll miss his linguistic insights. He was a scholar of classical Chinese before turning his sights to computational linguistics. His kindness, his humor, his patience, and his helpfulness. I learned so much about Chinese grammar from him. I am glad his talents are being recognized. Congratulations, Tao.
Hi, I'm Martha Palmer, and I'm presenting this PhD to Tim O'Gorman. Tim was a delight as a student the entire time he was here for his master's, working as a research assistant, and then finally as a PhD student. He worked on linguistic annotation for English and Arabic, tools for language documentation of Arapaho and Lakota, and became as adept at programming and machine learning as he is at linguistic analyses. For a term project, he first gave handcrafted syntactic parses to 50 biomedical journal articles, and then studied the syntactic context of the verbs in those sentences. He found verbs like insert and inject that, like put the book on the table, have to specify the location role. They have to give the place where something, usually a drug or a tool, is being inserted or injected. This foreshadowed his path-breaking dissertation topic, bringing together computational and linguistic models of implicit role interpretation. Here he applied the same techniques to one of the hardest problems in linguistics, those arguments or roles that can be omitted, as in, come to lunch with us? Oh, I already ate. In fact, my stomach has been a bit dodgy ever since, so I hope it didn't give me food poisoning. The it refers to what was eaten, which was never actually mentioned. It was implicit. Tim did the same beautiful, meticulous job on this that he did on everything. He's now doing a well-earned postdoc at the University of Massachusetts with Andrew McCallum, developing new machine learning paradigms for natural language processing that make effective use of linguistics. Congratulations, Tim. Hi, I'm Martha Palmer, and I'm presenting a PhD to Kevin Stowe. Kevin earned an MA in computational linguistics at Indiana University and showed up on our doorstep one day looking for a job. He made significant programming contributions to several projects here at CU aimed at developing lexical resources, like online dictionaries for computers, basically, namely VerbNet and PropBank, before he decided he was ready to do a PhD. For most of his time as a PhD student, he was the mainstay of two large NSF projects that examined how people behave during disasters, like floods, hurricanes, wildfires, and whether that behavior can be identified and even predicted by studying their tweets. Kevin led all of the linguistic annotation efforts on those projects and also used machine learning to train classifiers that tried to predict things like whether folks in a hurricane's path were likely to evacuate. That could easily have been his dissertation, but instead, Kevin chose to tackle an even thornier problem, automatically detecting and accurately categorizing our use of metaphors. In his excellent dissertation, Syntactic and Semantic Improvements to Computational Metaphor Processing, Kevin showed the important role that syntactic context, especially argument structure as captured by VerbNet, plays in our ability to identify and analyze metaphors. For instance, hemorrhage only takes an object when it's being used metaphorically, as in small businesses are hemorrhaging cash right now. Deciding it was time to check out Europe, Kevin is now doing a postdoc at the Technical University of Darmstadt, an outstanding site for natural language processing research in Germany. Congratulations, Kevin.